So guys, we're going to start this one by going back a little bit first, because there's a part of this that confuses people, and I want to just clarify something first so that it becomes clearer later what's going on. Okay, now if I said to you that we had x squared is equal to 16, and I wanted to know what x was, then you would say it's 4 and minus 4, okay? But what we actually do is we take the square root of both sides, okay? So what we actually get is x is equal to the square root of 16, or x is equal to the negative square root of 16, okay? And then we get x is equal to 4, or x is equal to negative 4. Okay, this is how we work out what x is. Now, what's really important here is that we have here a positive square root, and that gives us a positive answer. And we have on the other side here a negative square root, giving us a negative answer. Okay, it's very important that you see that there's a distinction here, okay, that we don't have that the square root of 16, so the square root of 16 is not equal to 4 or negative 4. Okay, the square root of 16 is equal to 4, and the negative square root of 16 is equal to negative 4. Okay, this is really important because it's going to confuse some of you if you don't think about this when you're doing this current one. Okay, so we're going to look at equations that have square roots in them then. Okay, so for example, if I said to you the square root of x is 10, okay, our answer to that is that we're going to square both sides, okay, and we get x is equal to 100. Okay, and as I said, this is that important bit. We don't also get that x is negative 100 or anything like that. Okay, x is just equal to 100. It cannot be a negative answer. Okay, if I said to you the square root of x is equal to negative 10, okay, you will see from what we mentioned just above that a positive square root has a positive answer, and a negative square root has a negative answer. So if we have the question that a positive square root is equal to a negative answer, this is not possible. There is no answer to this one. Okay, and I want you to keep that in mind. I know for some people that will be quite confusing, but you have to have a positive root equal to a positive answer and a negative root equal to a negative answer. Okay, now that's fine. This is pretty straightforward. Let's say that instead we had the square root of x plus 4 is equal to 6. All right, we're going to square both sides. So we get x plus 4 is equal to 36. Then we can minus the 4 from both sides. And then we get x is equal to 32. Okay, so this is basically the type of thing we're doing when we do equations with square roots. Now, the really important thing is that you always isolate the square root first. So for example, if we had the square root of x plus 2 is equal to 5. Okay, some people will go, oh hey, let's take the square, well, let's square both sides. Okay, and you'll notice I'm putting brackets in here. And then they'll go, all right, so x plus 4 is equal to 25. X is equal to 21. Okay, this is incorrect. Okay, very, very wrong. And the reason is the square root of x plus 2 squared means that we have the square root of x plus 2 times the square root of x plus 2. Okay, you guys should know the shortcut already, but we're going to do it the long way just to remind you. Okay, now when we do this, we do multiplying the first term by each of the terms. So root x times root x, FOIL, root x times root x is x, plus root x times 2 is 2 root x, plus 2 times root x plus 2 times 2, so plus 2 root x plus 4. Okay, so what we're actually getting here is x plus 4 root x plus 4. And that is not what we wrote here, is it? Okay, that is not what we wrote here. So if you have something like that, where you have root x plus 2 is equal to 5, you need to first isolate the root. So isolate the root first. Okay, so what that means is our first step here is going to be minus 2. And now we have the square root of x is equal to 5 minus 2, which is 3. Now we can square both sides. And we get x is equal to 9. Okay? Another example where we could have this happening, which is maybe slightly more complicated, if we had the square root of 3x plus 1 is equal minus 4x, or minus 4 is equal to 9. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. As I said, the first thing you need to do is isolate the root. Okay, so we're going to firstly plus 4 on both sides. Okay, so then we get the square root of 3x plus 1 is equal to 9 plus 4 is 13. Now we square both sides. We will get 3x plus 1 is equal to 169. We're going to minus 1. 3x is equal to 168. Then we can divide by 3. And we're going to get x is equal to 168 divided by 3. And that is equal to 168 divided by 3 is, I believe, 56. Let's just double check that with a calculator. 168 divided by 3. Yeah, 56. Okay? So in this case we have x is equal to 56. Alright, so it's really important that you make sure you always isolate the square root before you go any further. These don't get too much harder. Of course, we have some questions that have a bit of context where you need to do a little bit more work, but it's still the same thing. Substitute your values in, isolate the root, and then take the square of both sides. Okay? But as I said, I know that it's hard for some of you to get your head around it. If the square root is positive and the answer is negative, then it's not possible. If you had the negative square root of x is equal to negative 10, okay, then the first step you can do is divide by negative 1 on both sides. And then what we get is the square root of x is equal to 10. So x is equal to 100. Okay, but you cannot have a situation where a positive square root is equal to a negative number. Okay, all right, good luck with this.